Take a few deep breaths. You are not in fish market, please. Take a few deep breaths. Okay. Okay, that's enough. Tonight, my intention is to make you bored. It's why I told you that take a few deep breaths. Are you bored? So I'm successful without giving any speech. Okay. So for centuries, men were divided into two camps of spiritual and the materialism. But the common men were following these two camps without knowing the underlying the logic. But they had their own dreams, the personal. Common men have their own personal dreams. And those people who were fortunate, their personal dreams were coming true. And those who were unfortunate, their personal dreams could be killed. So nobody, either in this room or anywhere else, their personal dreams have not been killed. So this is the common tragedy that human beings suffer from. So everybody has suffered from the killings of their personal dreams. So if there is a problem, a common misery to all human beings, so there were people who were thinking to liberate men from these losses, a common tragedy to all human beings. 4 men, actually 3 men is really important to quote them, and they thought that they have come up with such ideas that they could liberate human being from this. So these 3 men are Aristotle. He gave the concept of essentialism, and Buddha gave the concept of nihilism, and Jean-Paul Sartre, who was maybe famous in America, and he founded the concept of the existentialism. So these concepts that were thought that they will liberate human beings from their common tragedy is too heavy, it's too bold for the common man. But and common men have their own dreams. Though they don't understand these philosophies, but they have their own common dreams. And I call these common dreams the philosophy of common men, or the principle of realization. But before we understand the principle of realization, we have to look to these 3 men. So who gave us the philosophy that the principle of the essential liberate us from this common tragedy that is presented by Aristotle. The boy name was Aristotle, and he was riding his horse beside the king. The name of king was Amyntas III in Macedonia. He was the king of Macedonia. During their search for the game, the king asked the boy, "Do you want to join my court?" But the boy refused. "No, I will not. I'm not going to join your court, but I'm going to Athens." He was saying, "There is to the school, to the new founded school is order Plato by name of Academy, not changeable, and you have another word that is changeable, and the man is growing." So our real life now is it's changing always, but we have another that's called our essence. That's not changeable. So this is a foundation for religion. Every religion, they just rely on this essentialism, and they say to the common man, "Okay, you have dreams, but your dreams is temporary. The real life is the life after death. So you have to sacrifice these dreams for the sake of the life after death, because your essence is another word." So they are not telling the common man how to take their own dreams. So beside Aristotle, there was another person by name of the Siddhartha, and the meaning of the Siddhartha is one who achieves his aim. he was a prince, and his father was very loving him, and for 29 years his father protected him to not go out to be exposed to religious studies, or not to be encountered with the people who have old ages or who have sickness, the miseries. But once he came out of his palace, he saw old men, people in disease, poor people. So he shook his concept. These things shook his concept. And he left his palace to experience the pains, the miseries that people feel. And he wanted to come up with an idea to liberate men from these miseries. So he meditated, and he found that it's desires that give you pain. So he thought, if you empty yourself from desire, so you would be happy. So it's the negative of the first concept, the essentialism. So, but to all this, because in a nutshell, if he's saying the teaching of Buddha, he's saying stop dreaming, to stop suffering, to become suffered from this. But these two concepts were not the solution to the miseries of the human being. So in the previous century, we saw the First World War and the Second World War. And during the Second World War, there was a person by the name of Sartre, and he did his PhD in philosophy. And in 1939, at the start of the First World War, he joined the French army. But 1 year after, he was captured by the Germans. And he was imprisoned for 1 year in the German encampment. And he became ill there. After becoming free from the Germans, he started to develop his own philosophy to liberate human beings from miseries he went through. So he thought that the only way to get free of this is to have freedom of choice and self-determinism. But the freedom of choice and self-determinism will bring you the despair. It will bring the absurdity to life. Your life will be meaningless. It's an interesting idea, it's an attractive idea, but it's also not the answer to the human dreams the dreams to the common person. Because one of his very close friends by name of Albert Camus, or people know is Albert Camus, he wrote that I think my life is of great importance, but I also think it's meaningless. So the meaninglessness, the absurdity is also not the answer to our dreams. So his friend, the Albert Camus, who was very close to the Sartre, and he was born in Algeria in a very poor family. His father died in First World War. His mother was an illiterate and raised his children in poverty. Albert couldn't complete his study because he got tuberculosis. He went to France during the Second World War and won Nobel Prize in 1957. He has only this great achievement, but a whole life of the miseries and pain. He had also the same concept as the Sartre, but he rebelled against this idea because he was also believing in the absurdity of the life. But he thought the only way to cope, to struggle against this absurdity of life, is to rebel against them. And he is very famous quoting, "I rebel, therefore I." So in conclusion, we have 4 messages from 4 non-men. So every man have desire. You have desire, you have dreams. I have desire, I have dreams. Anyone have desire. And we all think, if we could achieve our desires, if we could fulfill our desires, we would be happy. But everyone finds that their desires will never fail. So there is another alternative way to get rid of the desires. Maybe you become happy this way, but then you will find, no, if you empty your life from desires, you will not be happy. So when we cannot be happy with fullness, neither with emptiness, so life is too short, life is meaningless. But still we will not satisfy with this. So maybe to rebel against this, we become happy. But this is not also the answer. What's the answer? I leave it to you. Scratch your heads and tell me the answers that you will come with it. I will tell you my answer in the next speech, and I call it the principle of realization. Thank you.